Charlotte Coolhorn, Loopy, Saruki, Dordani. Shouldn't they still be pushing up daisies? Why have they returned? Well, I'll explain that later. But in the meantime, let's start the show. Salutations, my brothers and sisters, and this is Bleach chapter number 590 entitled Marching Out the Zombies. So without further ado, let's get into this review. So basically the chapter starts off where it had previously left off in the last chapter, where Gigi was just so mesmerized by the bright outfit of Captain Mayuri Kuratsuchi. And then it later jumps over to Ikaku and Yumachika, who at first couldn't really tell who it was until they was able to recognize the voice, that it was obviously Captain Mayuri Kuratsuchi. Because, you know, like I said, they was just so blinded by the light, they couldn't really see him physically. But of course, Yumachika went to state that even if they couldn't hear his voice, they said that he said that he could obviously tell who it was, obviously, because Captain Mayuri Kuratsuchi is the only captain in Soul Society, basically, who would even wear a ridiculous outfit such as that. And then it later jumps over to where Bambietta jumps right in front of Gigi, and then Gigi was just like excited knowing that Bambi basically has Gigi's back, you know, obviously because she can control Bambietta basically now that she's dead and a zombie. And then right before they was gonna go up there and attack, Bambi just started saying that she wanted it, she wants it, I want it, basically, I quote, that's what she was saying. And then of course Gigi just turns her head and started looking at her and saying like, oh, you want it? And Bambi just keeps saying, yes, you know, I really want it. And then that's when Gigi basically just like, I believe, slaps Bambietta, and saying like how, you know, perverted she was, or how tawdry she was, you know, being able to want it at this time during this battle. And she said, Gigi said to Bambietta, like, once this is all over, you know, I will reward you later. So you know what that means, basically. They're gonna do something pretty freaky, obviously. But after all that had resided, you know, after it was concluded, that's when Mayuri Kuratsuchi basically said, you know, I like that, how the way Gigi was treating Bambietta, because, you know, we all know that Mayuri Kuratsuchi basically is that type of person to deal out that type of pain against somebody else. I mean, obviously Nemu, because, you know, that's the only person, or anybody else that might piss him off, obviously he's just gonna like hit them or something if they step out of line. And so, you know, they kept going on. Gigi had said something towards him saying like, why did you I think said, why did you turn off your light on your outfit? And he said, I only do this because of like to common people so they can see me, or something like that. And then obviously Gigi told me like, what do you mean? I think like common people. And then that's when Mayuri said like, I think it was like, I'm sorry, I think he said, don't worry. He said, don't get offended, because, you know, it's just like, I just do this for like, towards common people, because I want them to see my appearance, or so, something he said. And then it later jumps over to where Gigi and Bambi, it started, no, my bad, it started where Bambi had released the reishi bullets, and it started flying towards Mayuri Kuratsuchi and Nemu's way. And then that's when they managed to jump out of the way and started gliding through the air. And that's when Mayuri Kuratsuchi then asked Nemu to get out those bombs, those little devices, and like start fixing them to like 3 seconds basically. Then later, that's when it jumps over to where my bad, Bambi and Gigi, they started flying through the air as well to catch up to them, and they started releasing. Gigi had Bambi keep releasing those reishi bombs in the sky towards Nemu and Mayuri, and that's when he had that's when Nemu gave him those bombs, and those little devices and just threw them around his body so that it can be able to absorb those reishi bullets in which Bambi was shooting towards Mayuri Katsuchi. And he was able to absorb them, and then he was able to toss them directly towards Gigi and Bambi, and it just surrounded them. And that's when Bambi was just not Bambi. That's when Gigi was wondering like, why didn't they explode? Like what's happening? And within about 3 seconds, obviously, they just exploded, and those two just went like flying down to the ground. And obviously, Gigi wasn't really scathed because she was hiding behind Bambi this entire time, and of course, Bambi took all the damage. And that's when she was realized like, why didn't they explode at that time? And that's when Mayuri started to explain that they were actually reishi fixing devices basically, and he started to like deducing it, explain like what was their purpose to basically obviously to absorb that reishi and to like detain it for that time being. And he was wondering why it didn't explode. Well, he was able to set it for around 3 seconds obviously, and then that's when it had exploded. And then of course that's when Gigi was able to understand obviously. And once all that happened, he said, Mayuri said that, this is a perfect opportunity, for them to be in like this position, because sooner or later he's gonna like turn them into his research material. And then that's when Gigi was just thinking to herself, saying, "Wait a minute, like, what do you mean by research? What do you mean that we?" Yeah, she said, "What do you mean we?" And then that's when it shows she had behind her like a little small army of undead soul reapers that she had converted into zombies, basically. And she was just explaining to Mayuri that the entire time that she was there, that she was just converting dead soul reapers or alive soul reapers into zombies this entire time. And that's when Ikaku and Yumichika, basically they were pissed off. Well, mainly Ikaku was pissed off, but it was a little bit a shock to see that they could recognize some of these members, because obviously these members of Soul Reapers consisted of being within Squad 11, obviously. So basically, they were pissed off. I would be pissed off too if I see my brethren all converted into zombies at the hands of that one Star Knight. But that's when it later clicked in Mayuri's mind, saying that, you know what? He said, nah, it just didn't seem right. He said, I'm more like a merciful individual, and that I will not take part in trying to kill off these Soul Reapers, knowing that they are a part of the Gote 13. And that's when the shocker happens, when he reveals to them that he said, I'm going to allow these Arankars who are standing above him on a platform, saying that I'm going to allow them to take out these Soul Reapers, because they really have no emotional connection to these Soul Reapers, obviously, because they're Arankars. So he went ahead and allowed them to deal with this current situation. And that's basically when the chapter ends. So yeah. Alright, like I said before, I'm going to explain the reason as to why these 4 Arankars showed up. Now, if I know some of you, if you can recall, for those who have read the manga chapter or have watched the episode, there's a scene, basically, where Mayuri, after he got done destroying, defeating Zalapado Grens, Sparta number 8 at that time in the past during the Arankar arc, he was able to, he told Nemu to basically dig up some rubble that was on the ground to reveal Zalapado Gren's hidden laboratory. And that's when we see that part where he opens up the doors, and you can see partially up in the rafters, you see like feet hanging down from the rafter. They didn't really show the bodies, the full bodies at the time, but we can realize that it was actually, obviously, like I said, bodies hanging from the rafters. Like you see the feet, that Mayuri Kurotsuchi had something in mind to use these bodies for like further plans in the future against like a more threatening enemies, basically more threatening opponents, basically. And now we know. Now Kubo has finally revealed to us who the bodies were, and now it's, like I said, Charlotte Coolhorn, Saruki, I think that's how you pronounce her name, Saruki, Lupi, and Dordani. It just seems so strange to know that these were the Arankar. All this time we've been wondering who were those bodies, and now we know those bodies are these 4 Arankars. To be honest, I mean, I was wondering that it was going to be like, actually, yeah, I really couldn't actually think like who else bodies could be hanging up there on the rafters. So, I guess it's these 4 though. I mean, when I first seen Loopy, I'm like, God, jeez, really, man, Loopy and Charlotte, seriously, Charlotte Coolhorn. That was basically going through my head was thinking that Charlotte Coolhorn was brought back from the dead, Loopy brought back from the dead. I don't really care about those two, but the other two, obviously Jordani and Saruki, they're pretty cool characters. I just didn't care about Loopy and like I said before, Charlotte Coolhorn. I just didn't care about those two, but let's see what these four Ronkars have in store for next week's chapter, going up against the undead army of Soul Reapers and against Gigi and I believe Bambietta if she's still standing, I guess, because she was pretty messed up. And oh man, to think what Yumachika is going to say to Charlotte Coolhorn. Obviously, I mean, if you can recall, those two have fought before in the past during the Ronkar arc. Man, I know Yumachika is going to say something to Charlotte Coolhorn. Obviously, I mean, those two really did not, obviously like each other. They did not stand on the yeah, they basically just didn't they basically just hate each other. I should say, I'm just babbling. They basically just hated each other. So I wonder what Yumachika is going to say to him. I'm pretty much eager to know what's going to happen. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty exciting now that we know those bodies were hanging in the rafters. I mean, I'm glad that's finally revealed. That's pretty cool. Yeah, man, I think it's going to be pretty awesome, to get to see them in action, maybe. So yeah, it'd be pretty cool though. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have for today, basically. I'm just waiting for next week. I hope something more exciting happens. The tables turn. Maybe the tables might turn against the Arrancar, probably, or we get to see some new abilities of these Arrancar, in which Mayuri, of course, was able to do some modifications to them so that they could be able to obey him, and he probably, like I said, enhance their abilities. Maybe, we just gotta wait and see though. So, it's gonna be pretty awesome though. So, yeah, pretty much that's all I have to say for now. Leave your thoughts, concerns, or whatever you might have in mind at the bottom in the comment section down below. Give me some, ideas as to what might happen in next week's chapter, basically. Yeah, man, it's going to be pretty awesome. So, yeah, until next time, guys, that's all I have to say. This is Romar492 signing out.